Hey everybody. Thanks for coming to another session of wheelchair yoga sponsored by the Woody Foundation. Once again, we're out here in Biscayne Bay. It's beautiful. The weather is almost tauntingly beautiful in Miami, and it has been steadily for like the last month. And it's such a shame that we can't have all of our friends out here with us, because normally when we take this boat out, we have lots of our friends in wheelchairs. And I know that, or I hope that you got that view coming up the ramps of the boat so that you could see how much space she has. This is the Impossible Dream. The owner and Admiral Deborah Mellon has been kind enough to let us do these wheelchair yoga classes on her boat. A lot of times we've taken the boat out at sunset, and we've had a beautiful sunset sail after chair yoga on the bow or on the deck or on the net sometimes. This boat was designed for people in wheelchairs, and it's a one of a kind. And so is Biscayne Bay, and so is the Woody Foundation, who sponsors these classes. We're so lucky to have this kind of open-hearted exercise available to us. We would love to be able to continue to do our classes at Dharma Studio like we have been doing steadily for the last several years, but because we're practicing social distancing, we're just here alone. So instead of having a lot of other people to use for inspiration and other people to watch and to study, it's just me. So it's going to be a little bit less exciting that way, but that's what we're doing. We hope that you enjoy these classes. We want to keep on doing them. We want to keep on providing this kind of guided movement therapy for our friends and family who are living with paralysis. And what we do is we try to just bring some of this beauty into your home. So thanks for inviting me over. My name is Natalie. I'm going to be your guide. I'm from Dharma Studio in Coconut Grove, which is just turned into a cybershala like all the other yoga centers and fitness centers and a lot of other businesses all over the world. So we're all in the boat together. We're all in this thing together. We're going to make it together. So I'm going to guide you through some movements, and I'm going to tell you what I always tell you at the beginning of class, and that is, if something's not comfortable, please don't do it. That would just take the fun out of it. And these classes are all about slowing down, getting back to the simple things, trying to put the rest of the world at bay, bringing the focus in, and doing some kind of movement that's accessible to our friends in wheelchairs or anyone who wants to experience a little yoga breathing exercises and yoga stretches and yoga postures that are adapted for our friends in chairs. So you're all welcome, but just make sure that you don't do anything that's uncomfortable, and just make sure you're being true to yourself. So one of the most important things to acknowledge is the fact that we're all breathing. So I'm just going to invite you to take your hands onto the front of your body. So take them onto the abdomen and spread your fingers apart so you're covering as much territory as possible. So everyone's going to do this in their own way. What we're doing now is just acknowledging the fact that we're sustained by the breath. So just observe it. Observe how your body moves to accommodate the breath, without changing the depth of it, without changing the pattern of it, without changing the duration of it. Just observe how your abdomen moves on the inhale and on the exhale. And as you do this, just see if you can sit up nice and tall. Imagine your spine growing a little bit longer from the base, from the pelvis. Imagine that energy rising up through the low back, into the mid back, into the neck, and imagine that energy coming out of the top of the head. So you're using a little bit of visualization here to help lengthen the torso. And at this point, since we're just observing the breath, I'll ask you to see if you can deepen it a little bit. So see if you can make the inhale a little bit longer, and see if you can make the exhale a little bit longer. So with every breath in, you're taking in a little more air. So you might be stretching the exhale a little bit longer. And let's acknowledge the three-dimensionality of the breath. So yeah, we have the hands on the front of the body, but let the sides of the body expand outward. Let the back of the body expand outward. And to make the breath a little easier to follow, we're going to start to move to its rhythm. So let your hands rest wherever they're comfortable, and we're just going to start to lift and lower the chin. So as you inhale, you let your head lift up, so you lengthen the front of your neck. And as you exhale, you let your head come down, so you're kind of stretching the back of the neck. So in this kind of class, we just do, simple movements. But when we're so busy and so distracted, and we have so much responsibility, a lot of times it's just hard to stop, to pause. Just keep on doing that same movement with the head and neck. And as you do this, try to make it match your breath. Let's do that 5 times more. And maybe you'll feel an increase of stretching, greater capacity to stretch. Maybe you'll get a greater range of motion. Let's just do that twice more. So let the shoulders remain relaxed away from the ears. And then let's bring the head into neutral. And then from here, we're gonna let the arms relax, so you can put them on the wheels of your chair or on the sides of your chair, whatever feels good for you. And we're going to take the head from side to side now. So instead of stretching the front of the neck and the back of the neck, we're going to stretch the sides of the neck. So just go with your breath, just like that. So take a deep breath in, you're in neutral, looking forward. And then as you exhale, you just let one ear fall toward the shoulder. And then as you inhale, you bring your head back to neutral, and on the exhale, you go the other way. So pretty simple in that. It's just one move. Try to make it smooth. Probably one of the hardest things to do is to get it to match your breath, because the inhale and the exhale can be stretching a little longer at this point. And maybe you feel that increased range of motion. Maybe you feel like the side of your neck is stretching a little more. You'll feel it more acutely if you let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Let's do that once more each side. So we're just introducing some really simple movements that are metered to the breath's rhythm. Now we're going to come back to neutral. And then we're going to take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, you're going to turn your head to the right. And just keep your head turned to the right. And we're going to add something here. So we're going to allow the head to remain turned in that direction. And we're going to lift and lower the chin like you did before. So as you inhale, you let your chin lift up. And as you exhale, you let your chin come down. So you're letting your head drop. And just keep on doing that same thing. So for most of us, we're just not accustomed to making simple moves, being allowed to move simply. Next time you let your chin drop toward your chest, just stay like that for a few breaths. Keep drawing that left shoulder back so you get a nice lengthening on the left side. And then we're going to bring the head back into neutral, lifting, looking straight ahead. So just pause there in neutral. So we like to take a little extra few breaths in between sides just to kind of celebrate one side so that we can more precisely compare one side to the other. So turn your head to the left. See how that feels. Right away you might notice it feels different than the other side. Pretty common. Keep that right shoulder drawn back. And then we're going to start lifting and lowering the head while keeping it turned to the left. So try to keep your shoulders and your chest and your torso just like they are. And as you inhale, you lift your head up. And as you exhale, you bring your head down. So just keep on doing that same thing. So you're just trying to control the movement. So we're getting a gentle stretch every time we drop the head down. Let's do 3 more, lifting and lowering the head. 2 more. And then last one, we're going to lift the head up. We're going to drop the head down and stay like that for a moment. Allow that right shoulder to draw back. Take some nice deep breaths and notice as you do if the sensation changes, if it deepens, if it shifts to another area, if it intensifies on the inhale, if you can feel a release on the exhale. Now let's bring the head back into neutral, and then we look forward again. Okay, so we're going to keep on going with this idea of moving the head and neck, but we're going to move the shoulders a little bit. So let's lift the shoulders way up toward the ears, really up high. And as you exhale, just let them fall down. Do that several times. Inhale, lift the shoulders up. And exhale, let them fall down. So do that a few times. So just make do with whatever you have at your sides, whether it's the arms of your chair or the wheels of the chair. So you kind of just let them percussively fall. And the arms are going to move as well. Do that 3 more. And you can add any kind of symbolism that works with this movement. Inhale. Essentially, we're shaking something off and keep on shaking it off. So if there's anything that you feel like you're ready to let go of or brush off symbolically, now would be the time. In fact, imagine you can just get something off of your skin, whatever's stuck to you. So think of it as an energetic kind of dusting off. And now we're going to bring our hands back to neutral, and we're going to make circles with the shoulders. So let's go with the breath. As you inhale, let the shoulders lift up high toward the ears, and then start to make circles going back. And then as you exhale, let the shoulders drop down, let them loop forward, and on the inhale, they're going to come back up again. So do that several times. Big circles. And it's quite natural for the rib cage to move, and that's what we want. We want to feel that really mobile shoulder joint exploring, lifting up, going way back, going down. And listen carefully. I don't know if it could possibly be as quiet anywhere else as it is here. But if you listen carefully, you might even hear little cracks and pops inside your joints. Let's go the other way. Whatever way you're doing, go the other way now. Big circles. And yes, of course, we're allowing the shoulder blades to move, we're allowing the chest to move, we're allowing the back to move, the rib cage to move. We don't want to repress our movement or our sensation. Let's do 2 more in this direction. So the assignment really is to try to match it to the breath's rhythm. And now let's do 1 at a time. So lift your right shoulder up, move it back and down. And then left shoulder up and back and down. So you start to add a little bit of a twist of the rib cage here. So keep on going. And as your rib cage turns, just allow your head to turn with it, of course. If you feel like you have to lift your arms up a little bit to make this happen, you do that. Keep on going, however you can get those circles. And then go the opposite way. So whatever direction you were going, now it's your chance to balance that out. And in yoga, we're always concerned with balancing out complementary actions. So whatever we do to one side, we do to the other. We try to introduce a pose and then a counter pose to neutralize it. Now let's come back into neutral, stationary, and just pause for a few breaths. Let your palms rest in your lap, and let's take 3 deep breaths. So we'll inhale through the nose fully, and we'll exhale through the mouth. Do 2 more breaths like that. Just your honest, natural length of breath. No forcing, no jarring action. 1 last time. Inhale through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. Let's go back to the idea of doing a little bit of a twist. And we're going to take the hands onto the abdomen so that we can feel the core of the body working. Last time we put the hands in the abdomen, I suggested that they be a little bit low. This time I'm going to suggest that they're in the middle so that you're covering with your pinky fingers as much toward the abdomen as you can, and with the tips of your thumbs as much toward the chest as you can. So just really spread out the fingers. Take a deep inhale as you are, and then as you exhale, turn your upper body in one direction. And then as you inhale, come back to the center. Same thing, other side. Exhale, you turn the other direction. So those of you who have come to this class a lot, you know that there's a variation we do holding with the hands. We're going to do that next, but for now, I'm suggesting that you do it like this, just so that you can feel the core of your body working. You can feel the contraction of the exhale, and you can feel the contraction of the twist. Let's do that once more each side. So you exhale, you come back to the center, you exhale, you come back to the center, and now use your hands. Exhale to one side and stay there. We're going to take some nice deep breaths. So stretch open the sides of the body, sides of the ribs. Stretch open the back of the rib cage, like the back of the waistline, and hold on however you can with your hands. Just brace yourself. And of course, the breath quite naturally feels a little restricted when we're in a twist, because of what we're doing, we're compressing the rib cage as we turn. So see if you can kind of exaggerate, kind of fight for your breath a little bit in the back of the body. Not like you're gasping or anything, you understand, but just so that you're deliberately and purposefully trying to send the air into the back of the lungs. Take a few more calm breaths in this little twist. Now make your last exhale here, and then on the next inhale, we're going to return to neutral, to face forward, okay? And then we're going to do the same thing to the other side. So we're going to start with the hands on the abdomen. So we'll go back and forth from side to side as much as we can, and then we'll hold it with the hands and stay on the right side. So hands go to the abdomen again, spread out the fingers, cover as much territory as you can. Shoulders relax away from the ears. Take a nice deep breath. And then as you exhale, turn your upper body to one side. And then you inhale back to the center. And you exhale to the other side. So go back and forth. So we're very lucky to have this scenery of Miami, to be on this special boat in part of its educational mission, always with that message that water sports and sailing and being on the water is available to people living in wheelchairs. So we're really lucky to be here, not just on this boat, but in this bay. So I hope that your view is as beautiful as this. If not, just open your eyes and look around as I'm going to hold myself here, turning my upper body to the left this time, working on opening up the back of the ribs. And here's where you can just take a look at the water, at the boats, at the bay. We just saw a big turtle. We saw porpoises the other day. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Try to keep your shoulders drawn away from your ears. Take another deep breath in. And then as you exhale, you're going to release. So we're going to come back to neutral, facing forward. And then rather than rush off into the next move, just pause and enjoy some stillness. Now this is another thing that has gone out of fashion, just being still. Just being quiet. Just opening the ears wide. Now we're going to bring the arms out to the sides. So we're going to start off with something very gentle, and that is to bring the arms out to the sides and to activate them. So notice that my arms at a diagonal, I'm going to spread apart my fingers and I'm going to engage all the muscles in my arms. So it's not something that you might be able to see as an onlooker that much, but I'm squeezing my fingers together or I'm separating my fingers. Actually do both, squeeze them together and separate them. All the while you're engaging the muscles in your forearms, in your upper arms, so your biceps, your triceps. And as you separate and squeeze your fingers together, just feel the activity in the forearms themselves. Now bring the fingers together and keep them like that. And then contrast this activity, this extension of the elbows, the straightening of the wrists, the drawing down of the shoulders. Just feel that. And notice how that feels and contrasted to just having the arms just relax at your sides, doing nothing. Okay, so we want to make a distinction. So in this next move, we're not having the arms just relax. We're just trying to stretch them out as much as we can. So imagine if you're trying to reach for something just a little too far away. So having the arms down like this at a diagonal will give you sensation. But if it doesn't bother your shoulders, see if you can stretch your arms out to the sides. Okay. And by that I mean parallel to the horizon. And in this case, our horizon is the water. Miami out there in the distance. So we're going to flex and extend at the wrist. So see how that feels. Whether your arms are down low or whether your arms are parallel to the ground, do that. So you're moving the fingertips up toward the sky, you're moving the fingertips down toward the water, back and forth, all the while trying to keep the elbows straight as possible, trying to stretch the collarbones nice and broad. So do that a few times. Stretch and engage as you flex and extend the wrists. Now you're going to keep the palms aiming in opposite directions and imagine you're holding two walls on either side. Press away as much as you can with all the strength that you can. Moving your shoulders away from the ears, broadening the collarbones, stretching the chest open. If you can move your arms slightly behind you, do that. You might get more of a stretch in the chest. Take 3 more breaths. Keep that sensation, that visualization that you're trying to reach away in opposite directions with the hands. And then slowly relax your arms. Let the hands come to your lap, shake them out a little bit. And then something else for the arms. Let's bring them out to the sides, right? So we're going to start off with the elbows either on the wheels of our chair or the arms of the chair, right? And we can keep them like this. This might be enough. Move your shoulders back and away from the ears, and then see if you can bring your elbows up so that your upper arm now is parallel to the ground. So try to do the same kind of thing. So instead of just having the arms relaxed and lifted to the sides like this, really engage them. So you're getting more body awareness here. So we're going to go with the breath. So take a deep breath. Let your elbows kind of move back toward the space behind you. And then as you exhale, bring the elbows forward. Try to get the elbows to touch. And then again, inhale, stretch the arms out. Elbows in opposite directions, and then slowly on the exhale, bend the elbows toward each other. So do this back and forth, and just do your best to keep your forearms perpendicular to the ground. Well, it's just an idea, you know. We start off the class saying move in your own way, so of course that's going to always be the message. Let's do this a few times more. Feel your shoulder blades on the back of the body. Try to initiate this movement from your shoulder blades. And try to keep your forearms parallel as they approach each other. And then let's do one more. Inhale, stretch the arms apart. Open up the chest. Exhale, bring the elbows toward each other. And then stay here for a moment. Press your fingers toward each other. Press the rims of your palms toward each other. The heels of your hands toward each other. The forearms, the elbows, and take a few deep breaths here. Now we're going to move the head and neck. So as you inhale, you're going to lift your head up. And as you exhale, you're going to bring your head forward. Do that twice more. Inhale, lift your head up. Exhale, bring your head forward. And then last one, really try to squeeze your forearms toward each other. Squeeze your hands toward each other. Exhale, bring your head down, and then slowly release your arms, release your shoulders, And we'll just make a few circles with the shoulders. Let's go with the breath. So do 3 circles in one direction on the inhale. And then on the exhale, do 3 circles in the other direction. So a lot of times in this class, we use an audible breath. Right? There's a couple of different ways that we can do that. We can employ what we call the ujjayi breath, where we constrict the back of the throat a little bit so you can hear it on the way in and on the way out. But a lot of times we just use an audible exhale through the mouth. What we're trying to do in either of those techniques is to rarefy the breath enough so that you'll notice it, so that we can appreciate it, so that we don't lose track of the fact that the breath is sustaining us. And so from here, let's just come into neutral, stillness for a moment. And we're going to do another little bit of a stretch for the neck, okay? So we're going to take the right hand and we're going to put it on the upper chest on the opposite side. And you're going to reach for your shoulder or your collarbone or both. So you're kind of planting that hand right on that upper side of your chest. And then you're going to bring your head down so your chin comes toward the chest. And then let your head roll, keeping your chin close to the chest. Let your head roll a little bit to the right. So you're bringing your right ear toward your right shoulder. Meanwhile, you're kind of gently pinning your left shoulder back with that right hand. Take a few deep breaths here. Now, chances are one shoulder will lift more than the other. Most of you will be sitting in a solid place where you won't move. But here we're on a boat, so we're always shifting and adjusting to the water's rhythm. Just really bringing home the fact that nature is resplendent and that we have to move according to her will. Let's slowly lift up the head, bring it back to neutral. Okay, so before we do the same thing to the other side, we're going to rest for a moment and just pause. Notice if you feel any sensation on that side of your neck. 3 deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Last one. Deep breath in and out through the mouth. Come back into neutral. Now we're going to take the left hand and we're going to put it on the upper right side of the chest. So you're kind of reaching in the direction of your shoulder or your collarbone. You take a deep breath in, and then as you exhale, you let your head fall forward, experimenting, and you let your head start to roll to the left. So you're bringing your left ear toward the left shoulder. Some of you have your face aimed forward, some of you have your face aimed down. What matters is that you make it comfortable, that you explore, so that you formulate an opinion about what feels good for you and what's possible for you. And then we're going to come back to neutral. So you're going to lift your head up and you're going to bring your head all the way to face forward. And then we're going to keep on going with this idea of moving the arms with the breath. So let's take the hands together in front of the body. So a lot of times when we do this, when we interlace the fingers, sometimes for our friends that don't have a lot of motor control in the hands, we want to, first of all, allow some time, because sometimes it'll happen if we just try, you know. So we try to, wiggle the fingers together so that we're interlacing them at the base of the palm, so at the root of the finger, right where it touches the hand, the rim of the hand, the palm. So take your time. If you can get it, go for it. And if you can get your fingers on the outside of the palms, squeeze in with your fingers so that you can feel the muscles activate in the forearms. Now, for some of us who are not going to be able to do this, interlacing the fingers, then just do this. Make a fist with one hand, close that hand, and then hold onto it with the other hand. What really matters is that we're moving to the breath's rhythm and that we're honoring the movement that we make. So those details are not going to be that important. So it's all in the name of just being inclusive and adapting and making things accessible for all of our friends. So let's go with the breath. So once you have your hands, as you inhale, stretch the arms out in front of you. And then as you exhale, bend the elbows out to the sides. Okay, so that's the assignment for the next few breaths. And what you'll notice is that, you might do a few rounds of whatever exercise I suggest. And then after a few rounds, usually the mind starts to wander because it's not new anymore. And we forget the assignment. We forget that we're supposed to be moving to the breath's rhythm. So if that happens to you, then just acknowledge what you're thinking. Let it go. Save it for later. Let's do 3 more. Two more. And then we're going to hold the next one. So you're going to stretch your arms out in front of you. Now, if you have your fingers interlaced and you want to get a stretch in the wrist, you can turn your palms to face forward and then try to stretch your arms straight and engage the muscles in the upper arms. And now we're going to round the upper back. So take a nice deep breath in. Try to keep your palms facing forward, your arms parallel to the ground. And as you make your next exhale, you're going to round the back. So that means your chin is going to come toward your chest, but then you're going to bring your abdomen in. So you're kind of collapsing the front of the body in, belly button toward the spine. Try to keep your arms parallel to the ground. Take a few more deep breaths there. Pressing your palms forward and feel the shoulder blades stretching away from the spine. So the upper back is rounding too. Let's make the last exhale. And then let's slowly come to an upright position. So you're going to release your hands onto your chair, wherever they land. You're going to lift yourself all the way up into neutral. But then that's going to be part of the next move that we're going to make. We're going to arch the back and round the back. Okay, so it's going to involve something we've already done with the head and neck, something that we just did with the rounding of the upper back, caving in of the chest, but we're going to involve a little bit more of the abdomen. So for this one, it might help to visualize yourself as having a long tail. Okay, so a long tail, and on the inhale, when we lift the head up, when we bring the chest forward, when we make this arching back, visualize that tail, that imaginary tail, touching the back of your head. I just saw a dolphin over there, so got a little distracted. It happens. So arch your back, look up. Okay, so that imaginary tail, the tip of it is reaching for the back of your head. And then come back to neutral. So we're just doing a practice round here. Now the opposite way, chin toward the chest, belly button back. So same thing we did before, but this time we're actually allowing the pelvis to tilt if it can. So this time, when we're doing this rounding of the back, your imaginary tail would be kind of coming between the knees and reaching for your forehead. Okay? So, let's do it. So as you inhale, bring your face to aim up toward the sky, your collarbones back, your chest forward, arching the spine. And then as you exhale, do the opposite. Round the back, belly button in, chin toward the chest. Round the back. So keep on doing that. Inhale, the heart lifts. So here the imaginary tail will be touching the back of your head. And then exhale, the heart caves in, the imaginary tail touching the forehead. Let's do that 5 times more. So we're just honoring the way that the spine moves. We can arch and we can round. And move the shoulders, arching, the shoulders go back. The head lifts. Rounding, the shoulders come forward, the head drops. So keep going with that image of the tail, arching and rounding. And last one, arching, looking up, and rounding, looking down. and then let's come all the way up into neutral. Okay, now sit up nice and tall and pause, palms facing up. Draw the focus in. If you want to close your eyes, you can. With a view of the bay, it's kind of hard. This would be a nice time to see the bay as we're just drawing the focus in. All the way back into a neutral position and get ready for our next exercise. So this is going to be a little bit of a side stretch. So right now I'm going to be able to use the handrail on the ramp because it's right next to me. So if you have anything right next to you like this, anything on your left side, you can hold on to it. Otherwise, you just hold on to something a little bit closer, which would be, in this case, probably the wheel of your chair or the side of your chair. And we're going to take the other arm, which is the right arm, we're going to stretch it out. So this one we've done before, and we've already gone over the difference between just having the arm kind of relaxed and willfully engaging it. So we're going to bend it like we did before, but this time we're going to lift the elbow up and take the hand behind the head. And we're not just touching the head. We don't just have the hand planted there. Really try to press the head back so you're engaging those muscles that line the neck, right? So the left hand is reaching for whatever you got, side of your chair or something a little farther away, in this case, this handrail. We're going to take a deep breath in. And then on the exhale, we're going to lean to the left. So I feel like my right side is really stretching open. I'm lifting my right shoulder slightly away from my right hip. I'm trying to stretch open the right side of my rib cage. Now you can have your face aimed forward, you can have your face aimed down. Do it in your favorite way, in a way that helps you get the stretch. So this is the kind of stretch that it might take a while for it to seep in. So go for it. Take like 7 breaths. We're not in a rush. I think the consensus is we've been rushing enough. And if you don't like having your shoulder lifted, by the way, or your arm lifted, try just stretching the arm out to the right. Take 2 more breaths here. Deep breaths. And then to come up, we're going to take that left hand onto whatever surface it's holding, and we're going to lift all the way up into an upright position. And of course, we're going to pause. Feel the breeze. And then we'll do the same thing to the other side. So this time I don't have something to my side, so I'm just going to use this side of my chair, which is going to be fine. So taking into account all those options for this side as well. The left arm stretches out. It's engaged. I'm contracting the muscles in that left arm from the wrist through the forearm to the elbow, through the upper arm to the shoulder. I try bending it. I try putting the head behind the hand behind the head. I try pressing the head back, and now to the side. So we lean. You brace yourself with that right hand in a way that's reasonable. So experiment. So this side is going to be different. So maybe you want your head facing forward. Maybe you want your head facing down. Find a way to stretch that left side open. Three more breaths here. And visualize that left lung really expanding. So without rushing, we're going to finish the last exhale. And we're going to press into that right hand, whatever surface it's on, and we're going to come all the way up. We're going to come into an upright position, and we're going to pause. So let your hands rest in your lap, whichever way is comfortable. Draw the focus in. And by this time in the class, you've probably caught your mind wandering. It's pretty normal. So instead of going into all those thoughts that you found kind of penetrating that bubble that we're trying to create here when we try to set up our peaceful space to do these chair yoga classes, whatever those thoughts are that penetrated for a moment, just acknowledge them as thoughts without going into detail about what they are. Bring your focus back to the breath. Notice the quality of the breath. How nice it feels to be still, do nothing but breathe for a moment. And then from here, we're going to come back into a little bit of movement. So we're going to warm up the thighs by taking the hands onto the thighs and pressing down with the hands. So we're kind of, imagine you're ironing out those thigh muscles from the hips to the knees, back and forth. You can squeeze with your fingertips like you're giving yourself a massage with your hands. If that's not enough, you lean forward and you kind of let the weight of your body help to create a deeper sensation. If that's not enough, you take your hands in fists, as long as you're not on blood thinners, and you kind of bounce the hands on the legs. So we want to get the circulation to move. We want to get the lymphatic fluid to drain. We want to get the body to move as much as possible. Now let's take the hands onto the knees and massage with the fingers around the knees. Massage below the kneecap, above the kneecap, massage on either side. And then we're going to take a little bit of more movement for the legs if possible. So for this next one, I'm going to ask, if those of you who have legs, those of you who are using your legs to just lift one leg at a time, a little bit floated off the ground. But if we're not going to be lifting the legs of their own accord, we can do this. We can take the hands behind the thigh or onto the clothing and use the hands to pull, right? And sometimes it helps to get a strap underneath that leg or a belt of some kind. So take your time. I'll give you a moment to do that. Like, get your hands in place. And this is going to be about using the action of the arms, but it's also going to be about creating a little bit more of a flexion here at the hip. So we're going to move on the exhale, which is a natural contraction. So take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, bend your elbows, see if you can lift your leg a little bit. So you might be holding onto the leg itself. Inhale, put your foot down, put your leg down. And then again, exhale, lift the leg again. So you might be holding onto your clothing, your shorts, your pants. You might be holding onto a belt or a strap underneath that leg. And let's see if you can make a few circles. Go one way, go the other way. So this is coming from your arms. And then let's put that foot down. Let's do the same thing to the other side. So now the attention goes to the other leg. So we set ourselves up. If you want to take a strap and put it behind the knee or behind the thigh, you can do that. If you want to take hold of your pants or your shorts, you can do that, right? And we'll move on the exhale. Deep breath in. And then exhale, lift your thigh towards your chest. Deep breath in, collarbones nice and broad. Exhale, squeeze that leg in. Do that again, back and forth. Inhale and exhale. So you're using your arms to lift the thigh towards your chest. And exhale. Let's do two more. Inhale and exhale. And inhale. Exhale. Let's bring that foot down. Let's sit up again, nice and tall. Pause. The next thing we're going to do is going to require a little bit of a meditation. Okay, so we're going to do it two different ways. First, we're going to visualize someone who we have a lot of affection for. And the second time we do it, we're going to visualize someone that we have a hard time with. Okay, so be distinct about it. Think of someone you know who you're really fond of. Maybe they've already passed away. Maybe they're alive and kicking. Maybe they're close by. And it's a shame because today a lot of our friends and our family are close by, but we still can't be with them. Visualize someone that you care about. And we're going to do a virtual hug. Okay. So first, visualize that we're all sitting in a meadow. So at this time, at this part of the class, when we have the class at Dharma Studio, or when we've done the class on this boat, when we have more space, we have a lot of friends in wheelchairs surrounding us. Since a lot of times we're already in a little bit of a circle shape, we can kind of visualize that we're all sitting on the rim of a meadow. And then visualize that friend of yours, or that loved one, someone you're fond of, sitting in the middle of the meadow. And take a moment to really dress up the meadow in your imagination. And by that I mean add grasses, flowers, birds, friendly insects, friendly animals. Add aroma, sound. Visualize the breeze blowing through the meadow, and you could hear the grass leaves move in the wind. You can hear the leaves of other trees move. So visualize all that in great detail, even the aroma of the flowers and the grasses and the trees. And you're waiting for your friend to see you, so visualize your friend sitting there in great detail, what they look like, what the sound of their voice is like, the quality of their laugh, the touch of their skin, the texture of their hair, everything. And now your friend sees you. You've caught each other's eye. And we're going to start to move toward our friend. So in your mind, you're going to get up out of your chair and you're going to just walk slowly toward them with your arms open. Wide open, in a gesture of open-heartedness, an exaggerated gesture like you're about to give someone a hug. Visualize how the grass feels underfoot as you make your way toward your friend, and you're leaning forward with your heart, and then slowly, slowly, you're going to wrap your arms around your friend. You're going to give him a squeeze. So you're going to squeeze your arms around yourself for now and rock from side to side. So get your rib cage to move as you do this. So we're just going to keep hugging over and over again, kind of like we're all going to do when this quarantine is over. Take a deep breath in, lean forward with your arms back, your chest forward, and then exhale. Wrap your arms around yourself and rock from side to side. And as you rock from side to side, notice what happens to the quality of the breath as you inhale and as you exhale. Let's do that again once more each side. So inhale, reach forward with the heart, arms out behind you. Another hug, other arm goes on the top, rock from side to side. So all the while, get that feeling like your rib cage is lifting up, like your spine is stretching longer, like the crown of your head is coming toward the sky, a little more effortlessly. Okay, one more. So reach forward with the heart, reach back with the arms, and then wrap your arms around yourself, give yourself a hug. Rock from side to side. And now we come back into neutral. Sit up nice and tall. See what it feels like to be still. Feel the aftertaste of that hug, surprising your friend in the meadow, getting a mutual hug. So the next one that we're going to do is different. This one, visualize someone difficult. Someone that you have a hard time getting along with, someone you've had a fight with, a misunderstanding with, someone who you have uneasy feelings about, or maybe it's mutual. But the same kind of thing. There they are in the meadow. So visualize that same kind of sincerity. Try to recapture that same authenticity that you had when you were hugging your friend who you're fond of. This time, try to get that same mindset. Now that person in the meadow, a hug. Stretch the arms out to the sides. Slowly, cautiously walk toward them, leaning forward, and you see the expression on their face. They kind of want a hug too. You're going to wrap your arms around each other, and you're going to rock from side to side. What would it be like to be able to embrace someone you don't get along with, the same way that you embrace a loved one? It's a visualization. It's an exercise. Imagine. Stretch the arms out. Again, another hug. Same person, same intensity, same believability. Wrap your arms around, a hug. Rock from side to side. And now come to stillness, but maintain that embrace. And this time you're embracing you. Take a moment to consider something that you're grateful for. Since we have the arms wrapped around the upper body, and since the heart is in the chest, the metaphorical heart, font of our compassion and sensitivity and our forgiveness. Take your hands to the heart. Visualize something or someone you're grateful for. Might be a person, might be a place, might be a thing. And imagine that you're going to gather the gratitude. So you're going to take your arms up. You're going to stretch them up toward the sky. You're going to scoop up that gratitude, and on the exhale, you're going to bring it into the heart. So do that back and forth. Just keep on doing that. Reaching out, reaching up. Bring the hands to the heart. Reaching out, reaching up. Bringing the hands to the heart. Let's do that once more. Reach out, reach up. Bring the hands to the heart. Take a moment to visualize that person, that place, that thing you're grateful for. And it's at this part of the class when the absence of all our friends that should be with us on deck is made more obvious, because they're not here, because we're practicing our social distancing. What we really want to continue to bring these classes to all our friends who are at home and they can't venture out onto the boat with us right now temporarily. They can't come to Dharma Studio for classes right now temporarily, and they can't go out to all the events that the Woody Foundation has planned, temporarily postponing all those kinds of meetings. So this is why we're doing it virtually. And we want your opinion about these classes and what they're doing for you. We want to keep on bringing them to you. Everyone on board the Impossible Dream, everyone at the Woody Foundation, everybody at Dharma Studio. So take a moment to think of what you're grateful for and say it out loud. I'm going to say that I'm grateful for everyone at all the organizations that I just mentioned, the Impossible Dream and the Woody Foundation and Dharma Studio, because we're working to help others feel well. And if everybody feels a little bit better, usually we're in a better mood. Usually we get along with each other better. We're better company. So we're learning a lot in these days that we're kind of sequestered. We're learning a lot about each other, and we're learning a lot about ourselves. But that font of gratitude is something that we want to keep flowing. So we're considering moving this class to a slightly later time. We wanted to ask the opinion of the public, of those of you who are watching and getting something out of this class, if that would be okay, like in the later afternoon, maybe 3 or 4, a starting point, maybe 4, 4:30, something like that. So you let us know if you can take the time to write in the comments. That would help us make our minds up. So now we're just going to pause with some silence, and you guys are going to get to look out at the bay and look at this glorious day. Again, you can see Miami from the decks. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming.